Get these figures and more at the Big Bad Toy Store, link in the description.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Baltmatrix here, and I'm coming at you with a pretty late video review. This is Toys R Us exclusive Thundercracker. This is a heavily or slightly remolded figure of Last Night Nitro. I'll be doing a comparison with him in a little bit. The figure is clad in classic Thundercracker blue, though it is a bit darker than his original powder blue coloring. You still have all the wonderfulness of his alt mode here. However, yeah, you still have all of the junk at the bottom of the plain mode. I like this figure a lot, but again, it has the same problems that I had with Nitro Zeus in plain mode. The junk under the bottom, parts don't stay together, it has a tendency to come apart if you're playing around with it too much, and uniquely in this version of the figure, he comes with a different head that cannot be stored in the cockpit or on the underside of the vehicle mode. So here's what I mean. His head is too big for the cockpit. Just way too big. And it doesn't transform into a Titan's Master either. You would think maybe, okay, well maybe I can store it under here. Well, not really, because of the way the transformation works, and then because of the way the head connects, it pops off. And you might think, oh, well I could store it right in here, where a Prime Master could go. Nope, still too big. So, unfortunately, in vehicle mode, I have not yet figured out a way to store the robot head. The overall look of the jet mode is nice. As I said, it is exactly the same as Nitro Zeus, who was a good figure back in the day. Jeez, back in the day. That was what, just a few months ago? Yeesh. Anyway, I picked this figure up over at BigBadToyStore.com. They got a selection of them, so yay! I was never able to find it at Toys R Us before Toys R Us, bit the bucket. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into transformation. Thundercracker's transformation is complex but fun. So to start off with, fold up the landing gear, grab the front of the vehicle mode, pull it away from the body, just loosening it up a little bit. Then come to these gray parts at the tips of the wings by the fuselage and unpeg them from what will be the hips of the vehicle mode. Then you can kind of fold out the wings from the body. Turn the figure around to the back and unpeg the rest of the legs and fold them out along the entire body of the figure. Then we can come to the back of the figure and pull off the connected arm here and just kind of pull it up and out of the way. And then we can grab the other front of the figure and move it up and out of the way. Come down with the legs, pull them all the way out, reach behind the one leg and unpeg, everything. And this whole section is supposed to unpeg. There we go. Unpeg the engine, fold it up, flip it out and out of the way. And then for this side, fold that up, fold this up, fold that down, fold this around. And hey, then we could bring the hips together like that. And then we can turn the hips 180 degrees, point the legs out, and straighten them out like that. And it is important to straighten the hips out, because if you don't, things have a tendency to not work correctly. Flip down the feet, come to the arms, push the shoulders all the way down, grab the landing gear and fold that up into the shoulders, into the chest, and then come down to the feet, or to the arms, flip out the fist, slide out the cannon, like that. Come to the other arm, come to the underside, flip that open, and then fold that up along the canopy, and grab the little tines or blades, flip them out like that. And then we could fold the wings up into their little squares. It's actually a little bit harder to do than you might think, but just gotta kind of force things around and move them into place. And then fold up the wings, or the tail wings, fold them down, and then we can attach the head. Something I forgot to do with the wings those little gray parts we talked about earlier, they fold up into the body of the wings, and then you could fold everything closed, but you do have to be a little bit careful because if you fold them all the way up, they prevent the wing from closing correctly. And then just kind of get everything lined up and close it up like that. I probably did all of that off camera, so I'll do it on the other wing. Unfold the wing, flip the gray piece up, then close the wing around it, like so. Swear profusely at a couple of things here and there, and then just kind of get it all closed up. And if you use too much force, you launch the engine clear into the stratosphere. The robot mode we end up with, I think, works even better than Nitro Zeus. And I like Nitro Zeus a lot, but Thundercracker's color scheme works a lot better for this mold. All the pieces that were black on Nitro Zeus are black here, but I think the blue is a better contrast with the red. That's just a personal thing. Though there are other bits on Nitro Zeus in robot mode that are different colored. And okay, for example, the shoulder pads on Nitro Zeus are colored in gray, which is the primary color of the figure. I really like this Thundercracker. Now we're going to take a look at the head close up here in a second, and a comparison between this guy and Nitro Zeus. He also does, or I'm sorry, Thundercracker also does come with missiles, but they're black, and I'm leaving them out of the review because they don't really add anything to the figure as a whole. In fact, they get lost in the vehicle mode, and in the robot mode, they just like They just look like little black pylons sticking up off the back of his intakes. It doesn't really add anything to the figure. Overall, I think this figure is still good. I like this paint scheme a lot. I do kind of wish it was in powder blue, but in 2018, I can understand why they went with a darker blue. The head sculpt is a very cool evolution of movie Starscream's head sculpt. He has 8 eyes on four on either side of his head. And then he's got this little spidery mouth. So if you ever looked at a spider and their mandibles, it looks like he's got that. It's an interesting head sculpt that I actually quite like. Unfortunately, it's not posable. Because of the nature of the gimmick of Titan's Returns and the head, you cannot pose this head whatsoever, unfortunately. But it's still very cool. And here are a couple Prime Masters being used as heads. I actually like using the Prime Masters better than some of the other Titans Masters. I don't know why. It just looks more interesting to me. Standing next to Nitro Zeus, you can see the differences in the figures. Now, Nitro Zeus I still think needs more paint, and Thundercracker could use a little bit more detailing as well. They're both excellent figures, though. If you're wondering why they are different heights at the moment, it's because Nitro Zeus's legs are straight, while I've got Thundercracker's legs just a little bit bent at the knees. You know, it's funny. Even to this day, I think that Nitro Zeus was supposed to be an homage or a redo of Shockwave, given his head sculpt. And nobody's done it yet. Nobody has repainted this guy into Shockwave that I have seen. So, hey, customizers, you might want to get on that. And while you're working on it, maybe repaint Thundercracker in the powder blue in the more G1 color scheme and replace his head with somebody else. I'm not sure who, though. Remember when I said his head isn't posable? I kind of lied. So what I had to do is I had to unscrew his head a little bit, just a little bit, like a quarter of a turn before I could actually move the head around a little bit. And then I did a little bit more, and now his head moves freely. So if you do get this figure, be aware of that. You do have to do a little bit of modding in order to move his head or allow his head to move. Overall, I think the figure is good. I like the mold. I do have some problems with it. Not chief of which has to do with the way some of the stuff attaches. So the elevators here on the back of his tail wing have a tendency to pop off very easily. His hips don't stay together all that well. These these VTOL engines have a tendency to pop off way too easily, and getting his head on and off is a bit of a nightmare. Not horrible, but it is annoying. So just be aware of those minor issues when you pick up the figure. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I had the same exact problems with Nitro Zeus, so it's a mold issue. Overall, is it worth picking up? Yeah, I think so. As I said, I picked it up over at BigBadToyStore.com, and it is still available at the time of this recording, so you can pick it up. I like it a lot, and it's a great complement to the Nitro Zeus mold. So, gang, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. I realize this video is late. I've had this figure for a while, and I haven't put the video up. It's just been busy around here. Plus, doing all those little news videos really takes up a lot of time. So, just be wary of that. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for being patient. As I said, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell for the notifications. And as always, I'm Baltmatrix, and I will catch you next time.